Hi there! I know, it's been a while since I've made a formal video like this, but you know what my life has been like? Between Mojo Plays and playing video games on my own and doing long play archive stuff? I'll show you!
And that's just the physical copies!
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. My name is Spectre Bull, and where the hell is my chainsaw-wielding cheerleader? Lately, I've been trying to go back into the era of PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 games, and with Valentine's Day literally right around the corner, I figured, let's check out Lollipop Chainsaw. I played this game towards the tail end of my time in high school or the beginning of early college. I can't remember, it was somewhere in there, but I remember loving this game quite a bit for its absurd nature. I mean, have you seen... Look at the box. It's frickin' Blondie with boobles and a chainsaw, and there's zombies on it. Does that trigger the teenage hormones in you? In all seriousness, though, I decided to long play this game, and I have a lot of things that I love about it, but there are some concerns with the news of the remake that I just can't seem to ignore. On paper, Lollipop Chainsaw is one of those games where any marketing executive would look at this and go, who the hell wants this? No one's going to want this, and then they take those game design docs, throw them in the shredder. At least any Western marketing executive would probably do that, except for Warner Brothers Interactive, for some reason. It's such a ridiculous concept, and the writing is so over the top that you play this and think, who was the person responsible for greenlighting this, and how can I thank them and promote them to the head of whatever company they're working for? Before we really get into the meat and bones of the game, I want to send you back into the time when this game came out, okay? This came out in 2012, and at the time, the gaming market was a little bit different. You had so many games trying to be Call of Duty, Halo, Battlefield, just about every single AAA game was trying to be super action-y or super Call of Duty-y. Everything had to be gritty, everything had to be serious, everything had to look super hyper realistic. In comes in Grasshopper Manufacture, and they say, hey, we got this awesome, crazy game, directed by Suda51, written by James Gunn, yes, that James Gunn, the one responsible for the new DC Universe thing, if you give two craps about that. But all of these guys were like, we have this awesome game where you play as a cheerleader with a chainsaw and you mow down the zombies. And that's it. That's the game. That's the idea. So imagine a person like me, who is desperate for something that looks somewhat unique and something interesting that isn't military, sci-fi, action shooter. Something that has a bit more flavor to it. Lollipop Chainsaw screamed for me to play it. Like, when I saw it at GameStop, whew. Like, I had never had a game be like, frickin' throw down the money and play me, damn it! And after playing it, it really shows that not every developer in this industry wants to make something that's overtly serious, something that's so cinematic, oh, it's a masterpiece. Something that is so high budget, it's comical. It's like disgusting how much money they spent making the game. No. Lollipop Chainsaw was different. Lollipop Chainsaw has this weird yet satisfying blend where you're using cheerleading poses and maneuvers to beat the snot out of zombies before you start unleashing chainsaw attacks to behead every single thing you see on screen. Finish off at least 3 zombies in one move, and you execute Sparkle Hunt, which throws in a sparkly spectacle of visual effects to pretty up the gore in Viscera. It's pretty freaking hilarious, especially when you hear Tara Strong voicing the main character and saying, like, oh yeah, in the most girly and cheerleady way possible. Like, it's awesome. In doing these Sparkle Hunts will earn you medals, the in-game currency, which you can then spend those medals to earn new attacks, new combos, and of course upgrade your stats. And of course, more attacks can lead to better combos and more Sparkle Hunts and bigger stacks of medals earned, thus leading you in so on and so forth. You get the loop. There's a combo for literally just about every single situation, and hearing Juliet Starling treat every situation like it's standard cheerleading practice is hilarious. Speaking of which, Juliet is, I have to say, the main reason why I love Lollipop Chainsaw so much. And I swear to God, it is not for the 2 obvious reasons. Or 3. No, what I love about Juliet is that she is written as this stereotypical popular girl, this captain of the cheerleading squad in terms of how she talks, but there's a lot more to her than that. You see how she cares for her siblings, how she cares for her sensei, and how she works together with everybody through anything. She is a daddy's girl too, but not in a super obnoxious way about it either. It's from a perspective of, I see how my parents love each other and I want that. I respect my dad, I want somebody like him. It's an infectious joy that, for somebody as jaded as me, I'm like, damn, I wish I could be like that. But I'm too jaded to even pretend to be like that. I can't pretend that. But anyways, but the biggest part of her character is her relationship with Nick, who is decapitated because he almost turns into a zombie, but I'll let the game explain that if you decide to go and play that for yourself. Juliet and Nick are the definition of relationship goals, and I know that's very ridiculous coming out of me, somebody who, you know, hasn't been in a relationship for the last... Anyways, Juliet and Nick are the definition of relationship goals, and you can see that not just in the narrative between the two, but also in the gameplay. During gameplay, you can use Nick as a weapon through the use of Nick tickets. A roulette will come up, and you'll have to stop it on whichever move you want to use. Personally, I always used Nick as a piggy bank, so I basically turned him into a sugar daddy for 90% of my game. You can do that, you can shoot his head out of a cannon, you can swing his head around like he's a frickin' wrecking ball. His use kind of teeters depending on how desperate you are in your situation. Again, 90% of my playthrough, I'm using him as a piggy bank and not really anything else. So, his use will vary upon how you want to use him. But the other cool part about Nick is that you can stick his head onto headless zombie bodies and use them to open up passages into different areas. And the whole time you're doing this, Juliet is cheering you on with her usual routines, doing the 1, 2, 3, and then she like continues cheering Nick on in the most ridiculous ways, all while buildings are burning behind her and stuff's exploding, and it's just it always brought a smile to my face on that. As for the story, though, there is a scene where Nick grows frustrated with his situation and becomes angry and depressed. I'm not going to say I relate to this personally, but seeing how they handle it and them coming out of it, it kind of goes back to what I was saying in that Juliet and Nick are the definition of relationship goals, and there are so many people in this world who deserve what they have. What, you thought I meant me? Oh. For as much as I love and adore Lollipop Chainsaw, and I really, really love this game, but holy crap, there are some parts where I am just bored out of my goddamn mind. Some problems that I really have with this game are like the camera. It gets in the way of things from time to time, especially when you're in some pretty crowded combat in really tight corridors. And the excessive use of copyrighted music, let me tell you, it was a real pain in the ass doing the long play for this. It sucked so much. I was trying to do a method where I was like muting the music anytime a copyrighted song was coming on, but the game just uses it at such random intervals that I was like, fine, I'm just gonna mute the music for the entire game, and I'll just stick with sound effects and dialogue, and that's it. So, if you're somebody who wants to stream this, or show a full walkthrough on the game, well, a part of the game's personality has to be disappeared. Boss fights, on the other hand, they can go either way. I didn't have too many problems with them, but some were a little too short, whereas others felt like they dragged on a little bit. However, the biggest problem I have comes in the midway point of the game, the third stage specifically. And it's this frickin' Harvester minigame, where it is such a slog to play through. The Harvester moves so slowly. You have to drive around this small cornfield, and the handling is just garbage. It handles like a three-wheeled shopping cart. And if you go grocery shopping, you know what I'm talking about. It's those shopping carts where the wheel is wobbly, and then it gets stuck and jammed for some reason, and you're like, huh, did I run over something? And you're like backing the damn cart up back and forth, and there's clearly nothing, so you're like, I think I got it, and then you did it again, and it gets stuck again. Clearly I'm frustrated, and clearly all the times that Depeche Mode, those guys, their song playing in the background doesn't make the minigame any more bearable. It really doesn't. Now, I could go on and on and on about all of the things I love about Lollipop Chainsaw, and all of the things that make me want to just down this whole dank bottle of whiskey, and I don't mean dank in the positive way. This stuff is disgusting. Do not get Ugly Dog. This sucks. But the reason I bring up Lollipop Chainsaw today is because I have a growing concern with the remake on the horizon. It's not because I'm worried about review scores are gonna make it seem like it's this horrible thing, or not enough people are gonna be talking about it. I don't care about that. When this game comes out, I'm buying it day one, right? No, what I'm more concerned with is the media. It's not the review scores that I care much about. Numbers mean nothing in an age where everyone has such varied tastes in entertainment, and there is, quite literally, something for everybody. If you don't like something, you don't have to buy the thing, you don't have to watch the thing, don't have to play it, don't have to do anything. But everybody else can enjoy it while you move on to something else. Not everybody has to enjoy the same exact thing. But no, my concerns all circle back to dear old Juliet. Lollipop Chainsaw isn't exactly loaded with blue humor and profanity, but there is quite a bit of it during the early points of the game. Still, it's enough to where I can already see the headlines from the usual outlets, even though we don't have anything close to a release window. And you know that we're gonna see these kinds of headlines the second this game is about to drop. Juliet Starling is the definition of
Chainsaw was directed by a man, and that's a problem. Juliet Starling is everything wrong with gaming today. Lollipop Chainsaw was only made for the gamers. Lollipop Chainsaw is pure sexism.
This is precisely why we need Lollipop Chainsaw today. For the last several years, it seems that games journalism and criticism has completely forgotten about what video games ultimately are: entertainment. Yes, we can have games with messages, and games with a meaning, and games with story, but you know what else we can also have? Games that are just stupid fun. Why else is Dynasty Warriors as big as it is? Why do we torment ourselves with Mario Party? Why do we subject ourselves to absolute terror with games like Dead Space? Because at the end of the day, video games are just dumb fun. When Lollipop Chainsaw launched in 2012, as I said earlier in the video, we had a freaking ocean of shooters, man. It felt like every single day there was a new game trying to get a slice of the Call of Duty, Halo, the Grand Theft Auto even, and that's not even a shooter, but my point still stands. All of them were trying to get the slice of the pie of their own with cinematic experiences, gross gray visuals, all of this crafting and open world and just overly produced nonsense. In a sense, we are in a repeat era where big business is cynical AAA games that are overly produced, and critics will applaud anything with a good story, even if it takes 10 hours for a game to actually get its damn ball rolling. Everything is a masterpiece so long as it's cinematic and has character development, and the outlets are more than happy to just shovel that out and right into our faces. So, when this game comes out, don't be surprised if you start seeing all the stuff like Lollipop Chainsaw is exactly the problem with masculinity, or Lollipop Chainsaw has learned nothing over the last 10 years, or some stupid nonsense like that. We desperately need Lollipop Chainsaw right now, and I'm not saying this like the remake will light the world on fire. I know it certainly didn't back in 2012, but if you're someone like me who is tired of these soulless big budget titles and is tired of the media going super activist on every single big game, then please, you need to give Lollipop Chainsaw a try. Whether you fork over the $30-40 for a copy on eBay or you buy the remake when it comes out, know this: you will be buying a video game. It is not a movie, it is not a TV show, it is a video game. A video game with high scores. A video game with awesome ideas for minigames and challenges. A video game that has a truly compelling heroine. A video game with a great sense of humor. A video game that is going to depend on button inputs and not how long you sit through a cutscene or how many crawl spaces you go through. And if you do consider yourself a little bit prudish in even the slightest sense, well, have fun with whatever this is. Look, you guys know me, I don't like getting super aggressive like this, but after playing this and seeing all of the stuff about some games that have been coming out lately, I'm like, why does nobody know how to have fun with video games anymore? And I know that I railed on about the media itself for a while, but social media also plays a part in this too, where all we talk about are the cinematic AAA experiences. All we talk about is which game is better than that game, and what game is worse than this game, and how wrong you are for liking this game while I'm playing this other game that everybody else says is good. Like I said earlier in the video, we're in an age where entertainment is so vast and rapid that you can find anything, literally anything that you want that is going to speak to you. It is not that hard to find. And with a game like Lollipop Chainsaw, I really worry that this game is going to get negative press from the media for the dumbest reasons imaginable. Like, even dumber than some of the stuff we've seen over the last year or two. I mean, that Sifu thing. How about that? Look, I personally love Lollipop Chainsaw. I think the combat is fantastic. I really think that this remake can fix a lot of problems that the original had. I love it so much, I went and actually got 2 copies of it just so I could play it on both platforms. Like, this game meant a lot to me, and not to get super serious, but it also helped me through a bit of a low point in my life at the time. Again, I don't want to get into details about it, but it means quite a bit to me, and knowing that the remake is coming out, I'm personally excited for it. I can't wait to play this remake, even if it ends up being not so great visually. I just hope at least the gameplay stands out. And seeing Juliet's new model, I know a lot of people want to crap on it and be like, oh, it looks like the same. No, it doesn't. She looks incredibly great. But anyways, have you guys played Lollipop Chainsaw? And I want to know what your guys' thoughts on the game are. I've given you guys all my thoughts. I love this game with a burning passion of mine, and not that. It's a video game, guys. Come on, she's code. She's code. You know what? You butt munches aren't even gonna learn anyway. Hi, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, I ask that you please consider leaving a like and subscribing. It helps the channel and the video out with visibility and getting more and more people to look at the content that I'm making here. And also, I almost spilled whiskey. My foot hit the bottle and I realized the cap was still on. We're safe. And here, check out one of my other videos that I did a few months back. I'm super proud of the work that I typically put out, and I try not to flood subscription feeds too much. I don't like the idea of daily uploads. It's just way too much content. Way too much content for anybody to put out, unless you're doing it full time, which I'm kind of already doing across 2 other channels, you know? But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, check out this other one right here. And again, please consider leaving a like and subscribe. And I hope to see you all again. I'm going to finish this whiskey. And you have until the time I finish this whiskey to subscribe and like. Oh, God. It's disgusting. Oh. Screw it. Video's over. Oh. Don't buy Ugly Dog whiskey.